Hey guys, today we're gonna focus on the next very important jumping technique in the rear court, the so-called China jump. As usual, we will start out with the what and why. So what is a China jump and why and when should you use it during the game? In the next step, we will look at the most important technical key points when you're doing a China jump and also look at the basics, but also at some more advanced stuff that you can focus on if you're already an experienced player. And in the end, I will show you two cool exercises if you want to improve your China jump technique, also one for beginners and also one for more advanced players. So I hope you're excited about this one. Let's go. In the previous footwork tutorial, we talked about the scissor jump and in general jumping and turning in the rear court, and I explained that the body rotation can help you to get more power into your shots, and it will also give you a good landing position so you can recover fast after your shots. For a China jump, you don't have any body rotation, so that is the big difference here. There's no turning of the hip, and also the feet land in the same position like when you jump off. So that is the big difference compared to a scissor jump and in general jumping and turning. There are two situations where you should or sometimes have to use a China jump instead of jumping and turning. The one thing is quite obvious. When you don't have so much time and you don't have time to turn your body, then of course it makes more sense or is the only option to jump without turning your body. I also said that the body rotation during a scissor jump gives you more power in your shots, but that only works or is only the case if you can hit in front of you. If the shuttle is too far beside you, the body rotation will only bring you out of balance, most of the times bring you in a bad landing situation, and also doesn't give you any extra power. So you have to have the shuttle in front of you, then it makes sense to turn, so do a scissor jump. And if the shuttle is besides you, and especially on the forehand side, it will happen many times, then it makes more sense to do a China jump. So now if we have a closer look here at the right rear court now for me as a right-handed player, there are so many situations where the shuttle is far on my right side. And if I try to do a scissor jump here now, most of the times I will land like this. So because the turning after hitting out here is really hard, and from this position on, I don't have a good landing position to get back to the center. So you see my legs can only push in this and this direction. So I have to do an extra step if I want to recover back to the middle or to the front court. So this is one of the big problems. The body rotation here brings you out of position and it doesn't give you any extra power for your shots. So in those cases, it makes total sense to not turn the hip, but do a China jump and use the right foot, the landing foot here, to push out of the corner. There are situations where you can also do a scissor jump here in the forehand side, but that's only when you can get under the shuttle, have a lot of time. So when I can hit it here, then it can also make sense to do a scissor jump, even if it's on the right side. But in most cases, the China jump is the best option on your forehand side in the rear court. So the normal approach before you do a China jump is usually a split step and then maybe one side step, or you do the China jump instantly after your split step. And now in this situation, I will explain the technique if you do it to the right forehand corner in the rear court. So you start out with a split step, then, as I said, maybe one side step, and then you jump with both feet. And as I said, there's no turning of the hip in the air. And the goal should be, if you imagine a line here on the ground, that you land on the same line as you jumped. So that is always a good thing. You can also put a tape here on the ground and try to focus on always moving on that line. When you jump up, try also to bring your elbow behind you, so you have a little bit of space here to accelerate, because you cannot really turn the whole body, but try to be far behind with your elbow and then do the shot from here, so you can at least accelerate with the elbow and don't only have to hit with your forearm. Last thing here to focus on is the landing, and the most important, or the important leg here in the beginning, is the right leg. Try to focus on landing really far behind you and also far beside you, and so you can push out of the corner instantly after the landing. So do a split step, jump, and land right away. So split step and push out of the corner right with the landing. Depending on the shot that you've played, if you, for example, play a smash, a very fast shot, I would recover with a side step. If I play a clear, I would just recover with the running step because it's more relaxed. I have enough time to do that turning here with my feet. So that's a bit different depending on your shots. But the running technique is in general not that hard. Try to imagine that line, stay on that line, and push out with your right leg right after your shot. If you do a China jump, you almost have to produce all the power for the shot with your arm. So that is also the reason why you don't get so much power into your shots compared to smashing during a scissor jump or jumping and turning. So also keep that in mind. Your opponent, if you play him here, he probably doesn't have so much power compared to when you lift to the middle or lift to his round the head corner where he can do a scissor jump. And that can also be a tactical approach to have that. We always call it safe zone, where you can play your opponent and you know he cannot hit with so much power, he's not that dangerous. Of course, there are some players with really good variations from there that are very dangerous, but I would say most players are not that dangerous here in the on the forehand side when they have time compared to the middle and the round the head corner. One final thing I want to cover is the landing position for the feet. So how should they be? Should I have a wide position for landing? Should they be closer together? And that depends on the situation you're in and also depends on the shot that you're playing. A landing position like this gives you a lot of balance and stability, but here I only can push with my right leg and it takes some time until my left leg can help to get out of the corner. If I land a bit more narrow with my feet, like more over my left leg and the right foot, of course, always beside me or behind me, then I can push almost right from the landing with both legs. But that, as I said, costs a lot of balance and stability and only works when you have a lot of time and also play a not so aggressive shot in most cases. Like when you play a clear, then you can make a relaxed landing like this, and that will help you to bounce out of the corner much more easier, and you can save some energy with a narrow landing like this. But if you hit with power, if you have pressure, try to land a bit more with a wide positioning of the feet to get back in balance and get more stability after your shots. As promised, 2 small exercises in the end, and the first one is especially for beginners because a lot of beginners have problems to hit here and not turn the hip. So most players, when they try to hit here with a little bit of power, they instantly start rotating their feet, and it's really hard to focus on moving here, but only with the arm and keep the hip in the same direction and also the feet in the same direction. So here, I think it also is the easiest way to practice that with throwing something when you do the footwork. And for example, I start out with a split step, go to the corner and throw the shuttle, and I focus on the landing position and also that I'm not turning my hip during the jump. So get the next shuttle, same again. So, of course, you can also focus here on the landing position, so that's a bit more advanced and also easy exercise where you can really focus on those small details. So try to go there relaxed and land with a bit of a more narrow foot position than you maybe usually do. So you see my center of gravity is always already leaning a little bit to the middle, and that makes it easier for me to push out of the corner instantly. Second exercise, very famous multi-shuttle exercise called side by side. There you need a feeder who's feeding you shots to the right and the left side, and you're always performing a China jump on both sides. What I like here in this exercise is that you're forced to do a lot of China jumps also here on your left side for right-handed players, because most players are not really good at doing it. As soon as the shuttle comes to their left side, they start to turn or they take the backhand, but they're not really good at using a China jump here. So really good also to practice that, and of course to practice the whole movement from a China jump combined with shots, especially with hard shots. Okay, so much for the China jump. I hope you know the technical details now about it and know what to focus on if you try to do a China jump, and I hope you also understood when and why you should use it. That there are situations where a scissor jump is more powerful and has a lot of advantages, but there are also situations where China jump is the much better option or also the only possible option. If you enjoyed this video, it would be super cool if you like and subscribe the video, and stay tuned for upcoming tutorials. See you next time. Bye bye.